Chapter 12. A Ghostly Departure. Emma and John sat in silence, the weight of his tale lingering in the cool night air. The mist had thickened, settling over Serendipity and casting a silvery glow across the canal as though the waters themselves held onto the shadows of John's ghostly story. Emma pulled her scarf tighter, feeling a slight chill that wasn't entirely from the air. John took a slow sip of his tea, watching her with a curious glint in his eye. "Well, lass, I didn't mean to leave you shivering," he said, a hint of amusement softening his tone. "Stories like that, they're best told by the fire, not out here where the night plays tricks." Emma chuckled, though the unease remained. "It's a powerful story, John. Hard to shake it off. I feel as if Engine 564 could roll down this very towpath at any moment." He nodded, understanding. Some tales seem to linger, don't they? They reach into our minds and stick like mist caught in the trees. But there's something about these canals too. They carry their own mysteries. You're never really alone out here. Emma cast her gaze over the water. The canal lay still, yet seemed almost alive, its slow, dark currents whispering secrets beneath the surface. The wind rustled through the reeds along the bank, the faintest echo of a sound like a train whistle. John turned to leave, glancing back at her with a knowing smile. Now I'd best get back before I end up on the receiving end of my own ghost story. Good night, Emma. Sleep well. Emma watched him vanish into the mist, his figure dissolving like a memory. She lingered a while, thinking of the tale he'd spun. Engine 564, the ghostly passengers, Wild Bill. Her mind drifted to the eerie stillness of the station, the flashing signals, and the silent figures waiting on the edge of this world and the next. The next morning, Emma awoke early, determined to shake off the remnants of John's ghost story. As dawn crept over Middlewich, the town appeared unchanged, basking in its gentle rhythm. Yet her perspective had shifted ever so slightly. There was a strange thrill in each creak of wood and murmur of water. As she prepared to leave, her thoughts turned to her new pursuit. She had recently taken up poetry writing, finding it a fitting way to capture the ebb and flow of life on the canals. Her pieces often drew inspiration from the places and stories she encountered, like John's ghostly tale. She'd been sharing them on YouTube, hoping that others might feel the connection she did to this serene, mysterious world. With her phone in hand, she recorded a few lines that had come to mind overnight, inspired by the haunting tale. Mist rolls in like whispered words. Echoes linger, shadows stirred. Ghostly tales and silent tracks. The past is near, it watches back. With the poem captured, she pocketed her phone, feeling a new sense of purpose as she prepared Serendipity for departure. She spent the morning strolling through Middlewich's narrow lanes, stopping at the small bakery she'd found the day before. The baker, a warm woman with flour on her cheeks, handed her a warm loaf, nodding knowingly. "Lovely morning, isn't it?" Emma remarked, taking in the scent of fresh bread. "Aye, though the nights have had a bit of a bite lately," the woman replied, her eyes twinkling. "Not too many out on the towpath after dark, you'll notice. 'Tis the time of year for tales to stir." Emma laughed politely, though she felt her shoulders tense. She thanked the baker and wandered on, her thoughts turning back to John's story of Whittlecombe Station. Part of her wanted to shrug it off as a tale to amuse, but a deeper part was intrigued, even drawn to the idea of hidden histories and long-lost spirits. Back on Serendipity, Emma prepared to move on from Middlewich. The air was cool, with a hint of wood smoke drifting from nearby chimneys, the sort of day that promised change. She secured her belongings and untied the boat, slowly drifting away from the familiar mooring. Middlewich's quiet charm faded behind her as she moved further along the canal, the waterway narrowing under a canopy of autumn trees. The afternoon sun broke through, casting long shadows across the water, and Emma found herself lulled into a gentle rhythm once more. Her mind wandered, replaying John's words about tales sticking like mist, until she realized with a start that she had drifted close to another boat, moored just ahead. The hull was midnight blue, its paintwork gleaming faintly in the dappled light. Jack leaned over the side, grinning as he spotted her. "Emma! Thought you'd moved on without so much as a wave." She smiled back, steering serendipity alongside his boat, Lone Wanderer. I didn't expect to see you here. Thought you were heading further north. Jack shrugged. Changed my mind. Something about Middlewich pulls you back, doesn't it? Emma felt a chill at his words, remembering what John had said about the town's pull. Funny you should say that. John had a few words to share on the subject last night. They both stepped onto the towpath, and Emma recounted the ghostly tale in detail, sharing the story of Wild Bill and the ominous Engine 564. Jack listened, his expression shifting from amusement to intrigue as she spoke. When she finished, he remained silent for a moment, looking out over the still canal. Engine 564, he repeated thoughtfully. I've heard stories of cursed engines, but never one quite like that. Emma folded her arms, watching his face. Do you believe in that sort of thing? Jack rubbed his chin, glancing at her with a slight smirk. I believe every story has a kernel of truth. Maybe Wild Bill wasn't cursed, but something about that railway stuck in people's minds. Places have memories, you know? Especially places touched by hardship or tragedy. And I reckon canals hold a few of their own. He nodded down the towpath, where mist curled over the water, whispering through the reeds. There's a tale or two about this stretch as well. Nights like these, when the fog rolls in, they say you can sometimes hear voices on the water. Not the sort you'd want to answer, mind. Emma laughed, though the eerie thrill was unmistakable. Seems I've stepped into a whole world of ghost stories without knowing it. Jack shrugged. That's canal life for you. History's all around us, and sometimes it comes back for a visit. They walked along the canal for a while, the conversation shifting to lighter subjects as the day grew warmer. Jack's presence, calm and grounded, had a way of brushing off the residual unease left by John's tale. But as they parted, with Emma steering serendipity away from Middlewich, the whispers of the ghost story lingered. The sun dipped low, casting the canal in shadow as she passed through a quiet, deserted stretch of the waterway. Emma watched the mist settle again, wrapping around the boat and lending the air a stillness that seemed to carry secrets of its own. A sudden shrill whistle echoed through the silence, startling her. She turned, half expecting to see the faint outline of Engine 564 racing through the mist. But there was only the gentle lap of water against the boat's hull and the soft sigh of the reeds along the bank. Shaking her head, Emma laughed at herself, the sound echoing in the quiet. She settled back at the tiller, eyes scanning the water for any signs of movement. And as the mist began to thin, she realized that perhaps Jack and John were right. Some stories linger longer than others, casting their shadows over even the brightest of days. With serendipity gliding forward along the Bridgewater Canal towards Manchester, Emma felt the weight of the tale drift away, replaced by the familiar comfort of the canal. She was ready to face whatever lay ahead, whether ghostly trains, mist-shrouded secrets, or simply the quiet beauty of life on the water.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this chapter of Emma's Canal Chronicles, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit subscribe for more. There are plenty more reflections and canal-side adventures ahead, so stay tuned for the next chapter in Emma's journey. And if you'd love to enjoy some canal storytelling on the go, try Audible. Emma, Jack and John all enjoy audiobooks while cruising along, and now you can too. Use the link in the description to start your membership and dive into thousands of titles, from canal-themed tales to so much more. Happy listening, whether you're walking, in the car or on the boat. Just a quick note, the Audible link is an affiliate link, which means I, the author, may earn a commission at no extra cost to you if you decide to sign up.